Hi everyone, I'm FMGreeno. Welcome along to episode 17 of the Greeno Tour, my FM21 European journeyman adventure. And the Greenobus has made its first significant trip of this journeyman. We have travelled all the way from Stirling, Albion, and this is our first episode as manager of Budapest Honved. So we've put some miles into the Greenobus. It's about a 1,500 mile drive from Stirling, Albion to here at Budapest Honved. It would have been a lot closer if I'd driven from the stadium in my other save, which is of course the Puskas Arena. I'm the manager of Hungary in the mighty Magyars save, and that's only about 6 miles away. So that would have been a lot easier. Could have got the tram. Let's take a little bit of a look around the club. That's what we're going to focus on at the start of this episode. We do have a game to come up a little bit later on. So you can see we're currently sat in 11th place in the league, which is not great. We have, if you look at the stats here, we've played 13 games. We have the worst goals scored record in the league with only 11. The second worst goals conceded. So there's obviously work to be done at both ends of the pitch. We don't have a great disciplinary record either by the looks of it. So we're going to need to sort things out a little bit. If we take a look at the club info here, we do have a nice 8,200 capacity stadium that's just been rebuilt. It's an all-seater, so that's going to do us. I think we probably get about 3,500 to 4,000 fans on a regular basis in, so it gives us a little bit of room to grow. Honved is a very, very famous team in Hungary. It's, of course, the home of legends such as Ferenc Puskas, Sándor Kocsis, Bosik, who, of course, the stadium is named after, Lajos Kosich, so all kind of famous Hungarian names from the glory days of the 1950s, and that pretty much was Honved's glory days. If we take a look, they have won the Hungarian title 14 times. A lot of them were in the 50s. That was the time when Puskas was playing for them. They had a bit of a resurgence through the 80s and the early 90s when they were pretty much the strongest team in the country. They've been off the boil a bit since then, although they did win one title in 2017. Similar story if you look at the Hungarian Cup. They won a lot of titles through the 80s, a couple in the early 2000s, but they did win it in 2020. So there's obviously some pedigree here somewhere. We just need to try and dig in and find it. In contrast to Stirling, it's nice to have some money in the bank. We have a balance here of 4.6 million, transfer budget of 2.9. I've had to shuffle some of that across into the wage budget. The wage budget they'd given me was about 52k, and we were already spending over 61. So I've moved some across to there. Gets things back on an even keel for this season at least. Having this kind of budget is going to be helpful. If we take a little look at the facilities of the club, you can see here, good training facilities, good youth facilities. Well, that's okay for this level. But only adequate academy coaching and average youth recruitment. Now, I'd like to be able to develop a little bit more youth ourselves. And it's a fairly competitive area, of course, Budapest. A lot of big clubs here. So lots of clubs fighting over a pool of players. Who knows how much quality is in amongst them. So for us, we need to kind of put some investment into these areas, I think, to make sure we're going to get the cream of the crop of any youngsters in the area. Taking a look at the squad depth, we're not in too bad a shape, I don't think. I've set the team up in a very, very similar formation to what I was using at Stirling. So goalkeeper, yeah, not bad. We've got a 3.5-star keeper there. Similar news across the back four. No standout players, but all okay. Midfield, solid by the looks of it. Left wing, good. Up front, we actually have a 4-star player, although Marton Eppel doesn't really fit the style I like to play. He's there as a poacher or a target man. I like a fast attacking forward, advanced forward role, but he's not that guy, so that's something we might look to upgrade at some point. Again, right-hand side, we're okay. Right back, I'd like to look at. We've got a transfer window coming up not too far away. Barat is listed as our best right back, but he's also our best centre back, and that's where he plays. So we could probably do with an upgrade here. But we do have cash in the bank to do it. In the couple of weeks I've been at the club so far, I have had a little bit of an overhaul of the staff, and it looks pretty good to me. So if we look here at the coaching staff, only a couple of areas where we are not already the strongest in the whole of Hungary. On the scout in front, second best pretty much in all the areas, and the best with the analytics. physio side of things, we could do with a bit of an upgrade, but that will come over time. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the setup we got there. So also in that couple of weeks that we've scheduled in a couple of friendlies. If you remember, we joined in the middle of the World Cup, so we had a little bit of a break from play. So we travelled to play against Vas, who are in the 3rd tier of Hungarian football, and we beat them 2-1. Not the greatest game in the world, but I was fiddling about with things quite a lot. We then travelled to Nafta, who play in the 2nd tier of Slovenian football. Very comfortable 4-0 win there, sorry. So today we go into the match. It's a league game against Gyirmot. We have this, and then we have a winter break until sort of middle of January, where we only have some friendlies and a Hungarian Cup tie against Gyirmot, who are lower division fair, so we ought to be able to tuck them away. Yeah, this one game against Gyirmot, it's an important game for us. They're 9th in the table. We really need to turn them over today. So here is the lineup for today's game against Gyirmot, and it's not far off the first choice 11 I'd put out if I had everybody available. So in goal we have Mikulic. Left back we are playing Alihi, the Albanian lad, because Adam Chanyi is not quite fit. He would be first choice left back. Centre halves, we've got Nikolic and Barat. Mizgrani is playing at right back. Sankovic, defensive midfield. Radetsky and Gazdag playing in the middle of midfield. Bobati on the right. Ugrai on the left. And Epel up front. Like I say, there are a couple of areas in here that I'll probably be looking to upgrade in the transfer window that's coming up in about a month's time. But for now, with the squad we've got, I'm not unhappy with being able to put that team out. Let's get into it. So here we are in our new home. I don't know why it's black seats everywhere. That doesn't really fit in with the red and black feel of Honved. Mainly red would be the colour of the seats in the stadium, I guess. We made a fairly good start to this game. 5 shots, 5 on target. Unfortunately, none of them highlight worthy yet. So I'm hoping we can win this game and go into that winter break. Gives us a few more friendlies to tinker about with things. Transfer window then coming. Gives us a bit of time to work out exactly where I need to improve and exactly how I'm going to improve it. It looks like an attack here that Gyirmot are starting. Knocking the ball around quite nicely. Get the ball out to Frenzy on the left-hand side. Selesh here. To Tot, right back. Oh, crosser. Oh, first goal. Oh, no, it's disallowed. Thank goodness for that. I thought the first goal we were going to see in this new club was going to be for the away team. But it's been disallowed, and yeah, he is offside. No real argument with that. So 25 minutes in, like I say, I'm fairly happy with the stats of the game. We could do with a little bit more possession, I guess, but it's early days. We have a throw in here, Alihi to take. There's Ugrai. Alihi gets it back at left back. Radetsky to Nikolic, one of our centre halves. Launches it long, but to nobody in particular. We win the ball back, though. And can Epel get on this ball? No. You see, this is what I mean about his lack of pace. It doesn't really suit the way I like to play football in this game. So that's something we're going to have to look at. Either getting someone a bit pacier alongside him and going into a 4-4-2. Is that a goal? It is. Ugrai scores. Coming in at the back post. Inverted winger or inside forward, I think he is, on the left-hand side. Sneaks in at the back post and tucks that cross in. So, the first goal in this part of the series does indeed go to Honved, and we take a 1-0 lead. Very happy with that. So, yeah, like I was saying, we might look at going to a 4-4-2. Those of you who've been watching my Mighty Magyars save will see that I've gone from this kind of 4-3-3 formation pretty successfully to a 4-4-2 with them. So that is something that I'm thinking about doing here, so we can still use Epel as either as a target man or that poacher role. Ugrai again doesn't trouble Gyirmot in goal. So yeah, so I think that might be something that could work for us here. Hungarian football is pretty much a 4-4-2 affair from everything I've watched of it. So it could be a system that suits us well. Ugrai in again? Oh dear. That wasn't the best of efforts, but we're coming up to half time. We've got a 1-0 lead. We are bossing the stats in terms of shots on target. Bossing the XG, as you can see here. Way, way above where Gyirmot are. Pretty satisfied with how that's gone. So we're going to tell them I'm happy with that performance so far. Inspired and motivated the players. I've got to be a little bit careful with what I say to them. It's an early part of this part of the save, because they are not entirely convinced that a guy who's been at Stirling Albion is the right man to come in at Honved. So I've got a little bit of work to do to convince them that I am, in fact, the right man. There's Grani. That's a great ball in. Do you see the whip on that cross? And Ugrai in again at the back post. That was like a Roberto Carlos shot, that wasn't it, that cross? There's Grani down the right-hand side. Absolutely whips this one into that corridor of uncertainty. The keeper can't come for it. The defenders don't know what to do. Ugrai is there, sticks out a boot, 2-0 up. That makes it a bit more comfortable. Opportunity for something to build here with Gyirmot, though. They go quite long. What are you doing, you two at the back? There's Grani, clears it, but to nobody. Gyirmot come again. There's Ferenczi. Can we stop them getting a cross in here? They're not really getting very far with this. Go all the way back to their full back. And Nikolic wins that ball. And here comes Ugrai on the counter-attack. You can see there, Eppel again, that lack of pace. He doesn't get away, but Babati does. And we are 3-0 up. So this system seems to be working quite well, even though we don't have a forward who can run. Because the two wide players in this system, who are effectively playing as almost like a front three, are playing very, very well. So, 10 minutes into the second half, and it's a 3-0 lead. Gazdag with a corner here. It is cleared, and Gyirmot are going to counter-attack. Very pacey run down the wing. Again, we could do with cutting out this cross, and we do. Ugrai is back there in a defensive duty. What has he done there, though? Oh, dearie me. Now, I've seen Gyirmot play football a lot of times, and I've seen them miss chances like that many times. But it's still a surprise when you see it. So here's Ugrai. Alihi goes long. Eppel does actually beat the defender here, and can he finish? No, he puts it wide. Okay, 65 minutes on the clock. We might be looking at making a change or two, although everyone's fitness seems to be holding up pretty well. It wasn't a great defensive, I was going to say header, but I don't think he actually headed it. Can we clear this? Mikulic picks it up nice and easy. Plenty of time, no need to rush. Lumps it up towards Ugrai. Radetzky picks up the second ball into Eppel. Looking left, but can't find anybody. Here comes Ferenczi. Nice football from Gyirmot to get an opportunity out wide. Will they get a cross in? They do. And, oh, it's gone straight in. The keeper thought someone was going to get a touch on that. And by the time he realised they weren't, it was too late. Have a look at this. It goes straight in from Hursan from 25 yards from a wide angle. You can see why the keeper didn't commit. You would guess that Adam there was going to get a head on it, but he didn't, and in it went straight through. So let's make a couple of changes here to the tactics. I say everyone's in pretty good shape. Radetzky's not having a great game. Who else here? Sankovic is not having a very good game, so we might take him out. But Patrick Hiddy in. He's a player who's actually leaving the club soon, so even though he is quite good to play in midfield, we're not going to base anything around him at the moment. And who else can we take out? Let's take FL out and bring on young Boubacar Traoré. Now this kid, again, isn't great. But we can play him as a pressing forward and see what he brings us. We might change a couple of the instructions here. A little bit of time wasting. We might stop the overlapping at this point. No need to go crazy. So with 10 minutes to go, a 3-1 lead. We'd be pretty unlucky if we threw this away, although anything can happen. Well, here we go. Corner. Let's clear that. We do. Ugrai is a counter-attack on here. Is he going to do it all himself? He is, by the looks of it. He's on a hat-trick. Oh, and he can't get it. Took the effort nice and early, but Gyulai in goal for Gyirmot was up to the task. Short corner here. Babati gets it in. Nodded over. So we're in injury time. Just 4 minutes of that left. Another highlight, though. Long ball here from Gyirmot. Out to Babati now. Oh, dearie me. That was a bit of a lunge from Ferenczi. He's straight off. Early bath. And so we're going to comfortably play out these last couple of minutes. That's not a bad way to start your first game. A 3-1 win. So if we take a look at the league table after that game, we have moved up to 9th, which is good, out of the relegation zone. It's pretty tight here in the league in Hungary at this stage. So we're on 16 points down in 9th. And 4th place Diosgyr are only on 21 points. So we're only 5 points behind them at this stage. Now, we have promised the board that we're going to finish mid-table this season. So I am assuming that means anywhere between 5th and 8th, really. So we only really need to gain 1 or 2 places in the league. And there's certainly a couple of teams here, Mezőkövesd, Kisvárda, for example, that I'd certainly hope we can overhaul. So as I mentioned now, we have a winter break coming up. We have some friendlies lined up against some fairly strong opposition. They're going to be a good test for us. We've got to play, Hajduk Split and Banica Strava, for example. We do have the Hungarian Cup 3rd round game I mentioned against Gyirmot. So I'll play that off camera. We will come back, though, for our next league game after the winter break against MTK in this really awful new stadium they have. They have just seats along both sides and concrete walls behind each goal. Hate it. Really unpleasant. But we're going to come back, play that game. We'll be about a week into the transfer window then, so with a bit of luck, we might have 1 or 2 new faces for you to see as well. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. It's great to get a win under our belt in the first game and gives us something to build on for sure. If you did enjoy it, please drop a like on there for me, and I'd love to know in the comments section what you think about the move we've made here to Honved. If you're not yet subscribed to the channel, please do so. We have a lot of good content on here. It's fairly Hungarian based now with this save being in Honved and my mighty Magyar save with Hungary, the other main save on the channel at the moment, but hey, what's not to like? We all love a bit of Hungarian football, I guess. But it just remains for me to thank you for watching, and I will see you soon for some more action with Honved. Bye for now.